Good morning, everybody. I wanted to bring to you today and make an announcement that I'm going to be getting in here and doing some live videos to talk about Lapland, and the name of these videos is going to be the Lapland Lowdown. So each time I get in here, I'm going to talk about a different topic, and to start off with today, the topic that I have chosen is Santa Claus Village. I know that a lot of people are travelling to Lapland for that full winter snow Christmas experience, and I thought what better place to start, because I think that for a lot of us, and I know we were certainly these people, a lot of us were or are travelling to Lapland to see and to meet Santa Claus and to see the village that we all hear so much about. On the flip side, I know that a lot of people are also discovering that as they do more research about Lapland and about Santa Claus Village, that it can be very busy. And it can be, absolutely, there's no denying that, but I guess what I want to do is spruik Santa Claus Village a little bit, because I think it's amazing, and we had an amazing experience there, but also recognise that it is Christmassy, it is busy, it is touristy, and that's not necessarily for everybody. So what I want to do is go through what you can do at Santa Claus Village, give you a little bit of an overview of what it's like, and if you've got any questions at any point in time, jump on in and ask them. I made no announcement about this coming up, so I'm not sure how many people will get in live and listen to it. But if you are watching this down the track and you have questions about it, please don't hesitate to pop the questions in, and I'll come back to them and do my best to answer them. But if you're here and you want to ask any questions, please do so. So I thought I'd start off with, I guess, the location of Santa Claus's Village, and just to let you know that it is in Rovaniemi, which is the capital of Lapland in Finland. It is not located directly in the town centre. It is actually much closer to the airport. It's only a couple of minutes drive from the airport, so it's a little bit out of town, but not too far, maybe 20-30 minutes. Obviously there's accommodation there, so lots of people do choose to stay there, but lots of people also choose to stay elsewhere. We stayed in the city centre when we were there for Christmas, and we caught the public bus. I think it was the Santa Claus Village or the Santa bus or something like that, which was free to and from Santa Claus's, to and from, both ways, so from the city to Santa Claus Village or back the other way. So that was really easy. There's timetables, and there's also maps that you can access in and around the city centre. You can probably actually get them online as well. So in terms of getting to Santa Claus Village, that is a really easy option. Alternatively, if you have a hire car and you're driving in, there's lots of parking. So again, it's easy to get to and from. The earlier you go in the day, obviously the easier it is to get parking. But yeah, you can obviously get a taxi or the public bus, and that would be my recommendation, just so that you don't have to worry about the parking, you don't have to worry about getting to and from. So anyway, what is Santa Claus Village? I think it's funny because it's one of the questions that I get asked often, and I recently just saw a couple of questions in the group, which is why I thought I'd start off with this one. But Santa Claus Village is a village, so it is like a little town. You don't pay to get into Santa Claus Village, which is something that I certainly didn't understand. And I know when I was first researching about visiting Lapland, I had no idea. I couldn't get my head around Santa Park, Santa Claus Village, all the different Santa experiences that you can have, and it wasn't until I got there that I really, really realised what it actually was. So Santa Claus Village is simply a village. You can walk in straight from the bus, from the car park, however you're getting in there, and there's a series of shops, cafes, restaurants, points of interest, like obviously the post office and other bits that I'll talk about, as well as a number of other businesses or companies that are set up to provide experiences like the Huskies, the snowmobile, the reindeer, etc. So anyone can walk into Santa Claus Village. You don't have to pay anything. So what I thought I'd start with is, I guess, just outlining some of the different businesses and facilities that are available to you, because obviously a lot of people go in with the idea that they just want to spend the day there and do as much as they can while they're there. Some people also go in to visit and then have their activities booked elsewhere. So not everybody goes to Santa Claus Village to do the reindeer safari and the snowmobiling and all of that sort of thing. So, okay, get rid of that. Yeah, so when you first walk in, there are a number of restaurants, a number of cafes that you can go to. If you are going during a peak period, I would definitely recommend booking, particularly restaurants, particularly dinner, because obviously the accommodation there, it is self-catering. Like, they do have cooking facilities in a number of their accommodation on site or nearby, but a lot of people will eat out. So if you want a meal there, I would definitely recommend booking in advance. There's cafes that you can walk into, there's takeaway food, there's a range of prices. Across the road there's a service station where you can go and get takeaway food as well, which it is sort of a major road, but I haven't been in there, but I have heard that the prices are a little bit lower, so that may be of interest to some people. If you're travelling on a budget, there's absolutely no reason why you can't take a packed lunch, and actually that's what we did. So when we first went in 2022 for Christmas, we were on a very strict budget, and I wasn't going to let a meal impact our ability to do all the amazing things. So we actually took sandwiches and absolutely loved it, actually, because around, and this is one of the other things that I want to point out, is that around the village there are fire pits and cotas, like their little huts that you can go and sit in and sit around the fires and cook marshmallows. So lots of people take marshmallows to cook there, which is really cool. So we did that as well, which the kids thought was fantastic. And yeah, we had our sandwiches sitting around one of the fires, and we were perfectly happy. Yeah, so that is definitely an option, and the marshmallow thing is actually very popular. So if you're going to Santa Claus Village and you're just going to spend the day, you might want to do that, particularly if you don't have accommodation to go back to, like during the day. If you're there to spend the day, you might just want to sit down and have a bit of chill time by the fire and kind of just watch the world go by. And that's one thing that I would say about Santa Claus Village. It is absolutely busy. There's no doubt, there's no question about that. But for us, and I think for many people who go there, it is the whole experience. It's festive, it's dark because of the daylight factor, or the lack of daylight factor. Everything's lit up beautifully. It's lots of fun. There's lots of people there. There's kids having fun. There's kids on sleds. If you're lucky, you might see a squirrel running up a tree, which was awesome. We did that just randomly. And yeah, there's just a lot of snow play as well, obviously, when there is snow. So in terms of just somewhere that you can sit and watch the world go by, it is certainly that as well. So on site, and I'll probably miss things, so I apologise if I do. I have got a little list here, but yeah, I'm still bound to miss things. So if you have been and you notice that I've missed something, please do jump in and put a message in the comments for other people to come along and to know about. So I guess speaking from experience, we spent one day there. So we, as I said, we stayed in town and we got the bus in, and we had one day in the village. It was on the 23rd of December, which was the day that Santa had his big farewell, and there was a big celebration, and we had planned our trip around being able to do that, and that being our day that we spent there. So we went for the full day. It was a massive day, but it was loads of fun. We spent a lot of our time in Snowman World, so that is one of the businesses that is on site that you can access throughout the day. You do have to pay for a ticket to get into Snowman World, so that's not something, and I guess that would be the thing. It's a bit like going to Luna Park or somewhere like that, where you actually, I think you do have to pay. I don't know. Do you pay to get into Luna Park? I can't remember. Anyway, you pay for the rides, or you pay for the activities that you do. So if you want to go into Snowman World, you do have to pay, which you can pre-purchase. And again, I would recommend doing that if you are going to go, particularly during peak time, because it does get popular and they have got a cap on the number of people that they have come in. It's not a massive facility, but it is a lot of fun. Our kids, actually not just the kids, we did as well. We spent hours tubing, so they've got tubes that you can, a tube slide. They've got ice skating for like just a very small ice skating space, an ice slide. They've got an ice maze. They've got an ice restaurant. They've got a room that you can see that's sort of set up a bit like the Snow Hotel, the Arctic Snow Hotel, and they actually have an affiliation with the Arctic Snow Hotel. So if, do double check this, but I think if you are staying at the Arctic Snow Hotel or in their igloos, you will actually get a free ticket into Snowman World with that booking. So if that's you, I would definitely check on that. We were able to do that because we stayed in the Arctic Snow Hotel. I might talk about that another time. So yeah, the Snowman World was awesome, and we loved that because we could go in and out all day. So we could kind of go and do something around Santa Claus Village and then come back and go into Snowman World, give the kids a run around, and then go off and do the next thing, which was really awesome. There is also husky rides, so there's a number of businesses, and there are actually a number of businesses nearby, but the very popular one, and a lot of people tend to go to book through, is Bear Hill Husky. So they actually have on site at Santa Claus Village Santa's Husky rides. You can book them through Bear Hill Husky, and if I set this live up properly, you should be able to book through the link that I have provided. So fingers crossed that works. We'll find out at the end of it. So yeah, Santa's Husky rides through Bear Hill Husky, Snowman World. There's the Arctic Circle Snowmobile Park, and they've got lots of different options with snowmobile rides that you can do within or from Santa Claus Village. But there's also a number that go sort of off-site. So the one main attraction, I think, for people with families going to Santa Claus Village, and the most popular that people do from or when they go to Santa Claus Village for the day, is the mini snowmobile rides for kids. So they have tiny little ones that the kids can actually drive, and it's a small track, and so that's really popular for families. And it's obviously a lot cheaper than a much longer experience. So if you're just wanting something short and sharp, then that's a really good option. The other great thing they have there, which is also another popular activity, is the Elf Hat Academy. So you can book both of those activities directly through the Arctic Circle Snowmobile Park. So they have a website. I don't think I added that to the notes on this live, but it's very easy to look up. So additionally, the Arctic Circle Snowmobile Park offer lots of other tours. So ice fishing, Northern Lights tours, reindeer safaris, day trips out to Renewal Wildlife Park. Where else do they go? To Karawama. Sorry, I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. Karawama Canyon, which is the frozen waterfall nearby. So anyway, there's lots on there. You can have a look at that. You can also do reindeer rides that you line up for and pay for on the day. You can't, from my understanding, you can't book ahead of time for those that are directly on site, and you will see that that's obviously one of the main attractions, and it's quite central, so you'll be able to see the reindeer rides, and they're short, but again, really great for the kids and great if you're just there for the day. And you're kind of wanting the one-stop shop, being able to do all these things. Okay, so additionally, there is Santa's official post office where you can go in and post letters. So, our kids went in and wrote postcards to their grandparents and to their cousins and popped them in the mail, and they got sent from Santa Claus's official post office, which was really awesome. They loved doing it, and the cousins certainly enjoyed receiving them. You can meet Santa himself, which is kind of an experience in itself. Like, we had to queue up for probably an hour, but the way that worked was that we actually, when we arrived in the morning, we went straight to the main centre, to find out how that worked and how it needed to happen and what we needed to do to be able to do that. We got a little ticket, and we essentially got to choose from what was left what time we wanted to line up, was basically the go. So they didn't have a whole lot of people just lining up. We got time slots when we went in, and so we were able to get our little ticket, go off and do our own thing, and then come back at that certain time and line up. So that was really good. I still think we were probably in the queue for about an hour, but the queue is actually really well set up. It's a bit like when you go to a theme park and you're lining up for a ride. There's lots of little things to look at along the way, and little little things to look at and see and do. And like, they had little peepholes on doors on the walls, so the kids were able to sort of run along and see what was happening behind one of the doors. And it was, there was the elves' creche, or the elves were in the kitchen baking, or playing outside, or whatever it might be. So there are a few of those little things that kept the kids entertained, which was great, because we know what it's like standing in a queue for a long time with children. Elves, there were also elves wandering along, talking to people in the queue. It was fun. So, and festive and exciting, and because we were meeting Santa, so that was great. And then again, you don't actually pay for that. You don't pay for the experience of meeting Santa, but you do pay for your photo. So we didn't have a huge amount of time in there with Santa, but it was very exciting, and I'm so glad we did it, because we did actually have another Santa experience booked, but it was great. It was really fun to be able to go in and actually meet Santa, and just have that first wow experience. We'd only arrived in Rovaniemi a few days beforehand, so being able to meet Santa pretty early on was exciting. And again, I think that experience in itself was probably one of the main reasons that we had gone to Rovaniemi was to meet Santa, so at his official office. So that was great. You've got options about how you buy your photos and that sort of thing, and obviously, as is often the case, you end up in the main gift store, and they have beautiful souvenirs. So if you're wanting to buy anything Christmassy, they have some really lovely souvenirs. Additionally, there are, outside that main building, there are a number of other souvenir shops, varying prices, lots of tourist items, t-shirts, hats, pens, magnets, all of that sort of stuff. But as well as that, there's lots of really nice, like really nice items that you'd be happy to come home and put around your house. So it's well worth having a look. Beautiful Christmas ornaments and that sort of thing, they're just nice little things to take home, particularly if you are travelling light or, again, travelling on a budget. There's some nice little things that you can pick up. So within that main building as well, there's some boutique stalls that you can wander through, purchase from Finnish stores, which is really nice. And the other thing that I was going to mention about the shops, apart from the souvenir shops, and like there's clothes and there's like boutique clothing stores as well that you can look at. But there's also a couple of places that do luggage storage. So I suspect that, the last time I was there was September last year, so there were 2 places available when I was there last year. I would assume that they would still be there. And and I did add this to the show notes, so as long as that all comes up, you should be able to see, but I did what I called a no frills video when I was there last year, and I did point out a couple of places where you could get luggage storage. So if you haven't watched that video where I just did a walk through Santa Claus Village, it might be worth having a look at that to see where the different luggage storage places are located. What else can I tell you? You can meet Mrs. Claus. That was fun. So I think we did pay for that, actually, and then we paid for the photo, but it wasn't a lot. It was sort of a token entry into the building, and then we paid for the photo, and they have restaurant in there as well, which was really nice. So they do close over lunch, which I thought was quite strange. I was shocked that any place was going to close over lunch, but Mrs. Claus' office, and I'm not sure whether that was just that one particular day, but they did close over lunch. Fair, Mrs. Claus does need to eat. But we managed to get there right as it opened, so we went straight in, so I can't really comment on the line for that. Just looking through my list of things to mention. Sleds is on my list. So there's lots of people, obviously, who are staying at the accommodation nearby and have bought their own sleds. You can buy sleds, and when I talk about sleds, I mean like plastic toboggan type things, and you can buy them from lots of different shops around Rovaniemi. So keep an eye out for them. But what a lot of people do at the accommodation is, I think when they leave, they just leave their sleds there. So when you get to Santa Claus Village, if you see a sled that is by itself and not broken, because there are broken ones, you can kind of use it. They're there for people to use. Some people obviously bring their own and hang on to their own, so don't just necessarily race over and grab one because it's sitting by itself for a second. I don't think I need to explain that, but yeah, they are there, and if they're there by themselves for a while, you can just grab them. So alternatively, and that's because often there are young kids get tired, people do take them and actually pull their kids around as a way of transport, as opposed to a pram that we might be more traditionally used to. But obviously that also makes it quite fun. So I'm trying to think of whether there's anything else that I feel like I need to tell you about Santa Claus Village. I think that is probably all that's coming to mind. If you have any questions, and I know that I didn't announce that I was going to do this, so I'm not really surprised that at 9:30 in the morning nobody's here. But if you do have questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the comments, and I will come back and answer them when I can. But I hope that anyone who gets around to listening to this finds that it's helpful, and I will look forward to bringing my next topic to you. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to also, about anything, or would like me to talk about something in particular on here in one of our Lapland Lowdown videos, please do write it in the comment, or you can send me an email or inbox me or whatever it might be, because I have lots of different topics and I look forward to bringing them all to you when I can. Alrighty, thanks guys, have a great day.